Hello everyone, welcome back. Mr. Doria from the Lab Scene here. Today I'll be showing you how to create a lesson using both Nearpod and Flocabulary. It'll be a math lesson, so to all my math teachers out there, I hope this helps you engage your kids if you're using Nearpod in your classrooms. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, hit that bell, and let's learn some cool Nearpod features. Okay, so this was a math lesson that I made about a month ago on functions, and I'm using Nearpod and Flocabulary in the same lesson. So this was the intro page. If you watched my last video, again, I always start my lessons off with some sort of like waiting room activity. So I also teach astronomy. I have the same group of students, so I just thought this was a pretty cool picture. But if you see here, I'll go into edit just so you see some of the features that I was using. Now again, you need to access your Nearpod account so you could edit it. But again, this is off my district site. So it's a simple title. I put functions, name the vocabulary so I don't lose track. So now again, I love the draw it feature, especially for math. The draw it feature is really powerful because you could actually see the kids do math at home and you could provide them feedback. So again, I use the draw it feature so the kids could show me their thinking. And it's, again, great for math because we want to see how our students are solving math problems. So if you see here, I have this collaborate board. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 collaborate boards. Again, if you need a collaborate board, that is in content, okay? Activities, you want to click activities, come over to the collaborate board, and here's your collaborate board, okay? Again, just look at that as a virtual post-it note. But these are the 4 that I have, okay? And they're called discussion points, and I'll explain why in a second. But when I click collaborate board, I have discussion point number 1, okay? And then it says our discussion point question, okay? Now, I got my discussion points from Flocabulary. So now my school district, we have both a Nearpod and a Flocabulary account. So we have both of those options here. So I did a lesson on functions. So I just simply searched functions in Flocabulary. Okay, now if you see here on Flocabulary, for any video that you pick, you have some options. You have a video, vocab cards for the kids, you have a vocab game. There's what's loading here, let's wait. Okay, students can actually create an interesting rap song based on any of the math concepts. Read and respond, okay? Just a reading comprehension with some questions, quiz, and the lyric lab. So these are all our options that we have, okay? Flocabulary has awesome, awesome, awesome handouts. Under teacher resources, you click handouts, and you'll have an awesome, clean looking handout. Thanks, Flocabulary. These handouts are great. So what I actually did was I took a small screenshot of these different parts of the handout, and I embedded them in my presentation. So this was one of the questions here. So I took a piece of that handout, and I was able to embed it right into Nearpod. Okay. And I did that for all of the questions that correspond to the handout. Okay, so that's the parts of the handout. I put them in Nearpod, and I converted them into a draw it slide so I could see my students work on the handout. If you watched my previous video, I showed how to create draw it slides, and after this video, I could make another video and explain how to create draw it slides again. But again, I took the handout and I put it into Nearpod, okay? But a key with Flocabulary is they have these really amazing videos. I don't know if anyone's been using it, but they have these awesome, awesome beats. I love finding a song that I could recognize that I used to listen to. Okay, so hip hop beats related to any topic that you're learning. And again, you could use both activities, but I want you to pay attention to my discussion points here. So I'm going to preview this presentation. Okay. And I'm going to show you what I mean with these discussion points. Let me just scroll to the front. Okay. So now you pick a video for your students. So again, this is on functions. Okay, and let's watch it.
Every input gets a single output. If it's a function, then that's the only outlook. And if you really want to see your math, you can put your function on a graph. Every input gets a single output. If it's a function, then that's the only outlook. And if you really want to see your math, you can put your function on a graph. Yo, I have a situation, this equation. I get a new result with each input I place in. Every time I put a value in for x, there's a new result. Sometimes higher, sometimes less. When x is 3, y can only be 5.
Okay, so again, the beats are great. So when you toggle discuss, you have a discussion question based on the video. Okay, so now as your Nearpod presentation is going, this is something that I do. Video automatically pauses. Now within Nearpod, again, teacher has control over where the slides are going. Discussion point 1, in the equation, y equals x plus 2, can y only be 5 when x is 3? So you could read that to the kids would see that, and again, it corresponds with the discussion point here. Okay, so that's the question. You can even click first question, and then you'll see that. So again, you have the same discussion question here in the Nearpod presentation, so the student could respond. Okay, so again, that's just one way that I use Nearpod and Flocabulary. Okay, and then if you do this again, we'll go to the second question. Automatically play.
When x is 7, y can only be 9. What comes out is called the output. That equation is a function. Now what? Let's take our equation and write it in function notation. Let's say we put in 3. If f of x equals x plus 2, then we know that f of 3 is 5. Because 3 plus 2 is 5, alright? We can write it as an ordered pair. Does it remind you of something, how it's written there? It looks like points on a graph. Another way to show that we did the math. We could try a bunch of values for x and plug them into the function to see what we get. Then we graph the points and connect them. They'll make a straight line. It's perfection.
All right, but let's say you want to go a little faster. Click next. Question 2, okay, correspond to the next slide here. And we see it's the same discussion point question. How does the phrase represent a function? What is the input? And what is the output? Again, discussion point 2. So just another way that you could use Nearpod and Flocabulary together in the same lesson. Whether you have remote students, hybrid students, they could follow along. And I think the beats are pretty fun. It breaks it up. Another way to engage our students. And again, I find the music really, really, really fun. So now I just want to come out here. Now it depends on the subscription you have. If you wanted to add a Flocabulary activity within Nearpod, you have that option. You could find a Flocabulary video, okay? But sometimes when you click it, maybe if there's some issue uploading, or maybe the software's not working, okay? See, like right here, I have to nudge my admin to get permission. So if I say not now, thanks, not a big deal. Okay, my district has a Flocabulary account, so just as a workaround to Flocabulary not working within my Nearpod subscription, I created these opportunities for my students to, answer those collaboration questions with the video. Okay, so if you notice at the top of my screen here, I have my Nearpod presentation, I have my Flocabulary presentation, and I would be toggling back and forth between those tabs just so that my students could answer the appropriate question. Okay. And as I said in my previous video, I have students who are remote right now. So I'll share them the Nearpod presentation. I'll have my screen shared so that they could see the video. And then so they could see the Flocabulary video. And as I'm scrolling through my Nearpod presentation, they'll be able to answer those questions. I also just want to show this slide here. Let me just preview. I'll show you guys my whole presentation. Especially for the math teachers, if they're doing some sort of graphing activity. Let me just go to my very last slide. So I was trying to figure out a way to get my students to graph, and my remote students to graph, realizing that they're not with me and I can't physically give them graphing paper. I took from that Flocabulary handout the graph. Okay, and I've actually saved this graph as a template so my students could access this if we do any kind of graphing activity. And again, you want to try to take resources, put them into your Nearpod presentation, and convert them to Draw It. So if you could convert those slides to a Draw It slide, any image, any picture, any handout, the students could manipulate and show you their thinking. So for me, the Draw It feature, as I've said, that is my all-time favorite Nearpod feature, because I could take any handout and I convert it to an image, or I take a snapshot, I put it in Nearpod and convert that slide to Draw It, and then my students are able to show me their thinking. And that will be my next video on how I, using my Mac, create images that could get into a Nearpod presentation. Okay, but again, the whole point of this lesson was I wanted my students to be able to learn about functions, and I also wanted to use that awesome Flocabulary feature. So again, there's so many great songs with Flocabulary. I mean, pick any topic. I was helping a teacher with a history lesson. She said, Mike, I need to teach about the branches of government. So I said, okay, let's see if there's a Flocabulary for that. Branches of government. There's a Flocabulary for branches of government. I'm a bio teacher by trade. Let's type in cells. Favorite topic, cells. Vocabulary videos for cells. Ecology. Oh, so let me spell that right. If there's nothing matching ecology, maybe we could type in animals. So again, just use that search. Find some videos. Oh, invertebrates. Same thing. Another video. We got great beats, and it's just another fun way to engage your kids. Also, it's very interesting. Let's zoom in right here. Flocabulary is by Nearpod. That's awesome. No wonder why Flocabulary is so great. But again, there's a Flocabulary song for anything. And again, that's what I wanted to try to show you, how you could blend both Flocabulary and Nearpod into one presentation. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I tried to highlight some ways you could use both Flocabulary and Nearpod in one lesson. I really enjoy Flocabulary. It's a lot of fun. You're teaching kids about all these topics through fun music. Those beats are fun. The kids like them. It just breaks it up when you hear the music and you start bopping your head. Maybe the kids even realize that some of those those beats in Flocabulary or from a song that they maybe know. I mean, I know I recognized one of my favorite early 2000s songs in one of the Flocabulary videos I chose. So again, just trying to find ways to engage the kids. You could leverage ed tech if you have two different applications. You could blend them to create an engaging lesson for your students. In my next video, I'll cover how I take images and put them into Nearpod and then convert those images into a draw it slide. So I'll cover that. I know I spoke a lot about that during the video, so that'll be our next video. Again, if you like my videos, please hit subscribe, hit that bell. And this is Mike Dora from the Lab Scene. Have a good day.